All right, man, this is Jack Antonio of Do You Know Jack, sitting on the tour bus of nothing more bass slapper Daniel Oliver. How are you doing, man?
What's happening? I'm doing good.
See, this is what I don't like about face-to-face is you can look at my notes and you can see what I'm actually going to ask you about. It's like having a cheat sheet.
Well, the beauty is I don't know how to read, so you're safe there.
Well, now, before I hit record, see, this is where, let's see if we can do this again. We were talking about how long you guys have been a touring band, and you said 2014, and you mentioned that that's when shit got real. And
yeah, 2014 was when we took what I call the vow of poverty, and we all dropped out of school. Several members didn't go to college, stuff like that. Yeah, it was just this window of time where we were all really young. None of us had, we weren't married, didn't know mortgages, we're all driving the cars from high school, stuff like that. So, yeah, that was when we dedicated our life to it, at least a year is what we said. Let's do it with everything we got for a year. So we just kind of, divided and conquered. We all took on different tasks in the band. Johnny was kind of our general manager and booking agent. I handled all the money and transportation. Our guitar player Mark handled all the online promotion and making sure that websites had the tour dates and stuff like that. It was hard at first. You're cold calling a lot of people and the crowds were tiny. We did pretty well in San Antonio. I mean, pretty well at that point. It's 150 people. Which is really good.
I know a lot of bands that wouldn't complain.
Yeah, that is really good for just an unsigned local act. Yeah, so we started there, and kind of started networking to other bands in surrounding cities like Houston and Dallas, and we started gig swapping. So we would drive to Houston and play a hometown show with a band that does well there, so we could steal some of their fans, and we'd trade for a hometown show of ours.
Classic.
Yeah. Old, we read the book, I don't think it's in print anymore, was it Guerrilla Music Marketing, something like that. So,
Indie Band Survival Guide, Indie Band Bible.
Yeah, I read that one too. So it was all that stuff, but yeah, at the end of the day, it took us, back then we thought it'd take like a year to get signed or something like that, but ended up taking us 10 years of doing that to get where we are today, with 11-7. We've been signed to 11-7 now for 4 years, and we're really happy. But
well, now I think Sony in Canada.
Yeah, Sony does all of our distribution in Canada. But, I wouldn't. Those years were just very valuable because having nothing and having gigantic goals it's just a very cool place to be because you have to figure it out. You don't have anyone telling you you're cool. You don't have anyone really helping you. You don't have anyone pumping money into you. So you really have to, start... I don't know. You have to learn. You have to learn from scratch. You have to make all the mistakes and hope you grow from them. And, for us, that's where... At this point, almost 15 years later, we produce our own records. I build all the Scorpion Tail and Drumtron stuff you see on stage, and all that stuff just came kind of A, out of desire, but B, out of necessity. We didn't have the money really to go to a recording studio, so Johnny was interested in it, so he just kind of started collecting the gear himself and teaching himself. And me, kind of in the automotive world, I converted a van to run on vegetable oil for a little bit and to save money, and I just kind of went through the ringer with a couple vehicles, and that kind of really acquainted me with the engineering side of things. And I'm a failed mechanical engineering major.
I was going to say, what's your
college
college background?
Yeah, I was a mechanical engineering major. It mainly did all the math, though. I didn't really get into the design portion, but I've always just kind of been interested in it. So, I don't know. It's neat all these years later to see that really, all these awesome aspects of the band came from the fact that we just had to do everything ourselves and never got comfortable. We just kept pushing.
Well, and now you're on this giant tour bus that looks like it sleeps 50 people.
No, it's the bus is nice. That's kind of the biggest improvement any touring band can make is once you can finally afford the tour bus. it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. Like
Yeah.
where we are now, things don't really get much more luxurious than this. I mean, I know more richer bands have they might go to a 5-star hotel room when there's time, kind of thing. But every band, we have the same dressing room tonight as 3 Days Grace. It's not. It's
Can't complain about that.
Yeah, it's the same hockey locker room, and all the buses are pretty much the same. So, I don't know. If we can't be comfortable and make it work here, then maybe we're not cut out for it. But we're having a blast, even after all these years. I think we get along better than most bands, and we don't even feel like we're close to being out of ideas.
That's great. Well, now I was just thinking, I got to read this here. You're currently on the 3 Days Grace Outsider Tour as a supporting act, right? But
yeah.
I think maybe in the UK there's going to be some headlining dates. So how does the strategy change when you guys switch over to the Truth Tour compared to the support act?
Yeah, it's a longer set. We, for the Truth Tour, that's going to be our final headline set in the US on this record. Before we go back and start writing the next one. So we're playing a bunch of songs off the record, off the stories we tell ourselves that we haven't played yet. We try to design new show aspects. It's not going to be anything major like when we unveiled Scorpion Tail or anything like that. But there'll be new musical pieces that people have never seen or heard before. We'll have a new intro, kind of new look on stage. It's a different beast. The headlining stuff's fun because no matter what, everyone kind of has to put in the same amount of work every day. So if you're playing 30 minutes, it can seem kind of short versus, if you get to play an hour and a half. But
that's the obvious piece of the headlining thing.
Yeah, but it's it's just very gratifying to walk around a big venue that's packed and know that it's your tour and your show. And I know all of our crew guys love the headliners just because they're the top dogs on stage. We can take our time and stuff like that. But it's a little bit different strategy. I mean, playing is playing though. At the end of the day, whether it's 30 minutes or 90 minutes. Still got to protect the voice, still got to get a show the next day. You can't go too crazy. I don't know. We're excited for it.
So how's the vibe with Bad Wolves and 3 Days Grace so far? I'm not sure how many dates you're into this, but
it's been awesome. So we've toured with Bad Wolves before. We did 2 months of the Five Finger Death Punch Breaking Ben tour. And we became friends with them on that. A lot of times we're the first two bands, so we on a double headline tour, so we had to share dressing rooms. If anybody didn't get a dressing room, it was always us. So we're just bus partying in the parking lot together. We know those guys pretty well. But 3 Days Grace, we're new to them, and they've been fantastic. Some of the nicest band people and crew people I think we've ever met. To the point they even buy us pizza every night after the show, which
Nice.
we've never even bought for ourselves. We never sprung for after show food. So to have that kind of hospitality is insane.
Well, I thought I heard them talking about pizza back in the catering. I managed to get in there, and that must be what that's all about. The pizza tradition.
Pizza tradition, maybe so. And they're a good band. They're a cool band to watch. Love their songs. When you're out with a band for a month, 6 weeks, if you don't like the band you're touring with or bands, it can kind of start to wear on you because you almost have to hear it every day if you're going to be in the venue. You can retreat to the bus, but then the bus is great, but you're still in a little hallway of a vehicle. But they're awesome though, super cool. They're very encouraging to us. Invite us to bars after, and they're just good dudes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I can tell you this bus seems a little bit more spacious than Rival Sons. That was the last bus interview I did when they were opening for Sabbath. But mind you, Scott's shit was strewn all up through the back. This is very clean.
Yeah, we impose major fines for leaving your stuff out.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's 12 people on here, so if everyone left a backpack out, there's no place to sit.
Yeah,
and
I can well imagine.
It's aggravating. I mean, it's those little things that keep everyone gelling together, and when people start getting angry or feeling cramped, it can really start to spiral out of control quickly. Just like if you have a bad, they call it, I think, crew cancer. You have a crew member, like one dude that's not getting along with the other dudes, no matter how good at his job he is, you have to fire him, and it's real sad. So much of what we do is just about managing the closeness, that's kind of the hardest thing, is there's no personal space. We constantly see each other. We see each other at our best and worst, and so yeah, that's why the bus is clean.
Very nice, very nice. Well, now after all these years of touring with various bands, I mean, is there bands that are still on your bucket list that you'd like to work with, either as a support act or, being in that headline position?
Yeah, there are quite a few. I'm a big Muse fan. That's a band I think is right in our wheelhouse for someone we could go and support. All the massive tours are really hard to get because they pretty much just put on whoever they're interested in. So we don't know if Muse likes us yet. But yeah, like Muse, Nine Inch Nails, Tool tour would be fun. I'm trying to think.
Tool,
Deftones would be good.
Yeah. I thought I read somewhere Deftones are getting ready to go back into the studio, so that's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. We're all big Deftones fans. So, and it's a band, we've had a 12 Foot Ninja out. They're from Australia. They're
shit, I love those guys.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. They've supported us on a couple tours, and every chance we get, we invite them to come back over. I know it's a feat to get to the U.S. from Australia. There's a band, Hell or High Water, that we've toured with quite a bit. Love having those dudes out. I don't know. I'd really like to do a Jimmy Eat World tour. I know we're probably kind of similar sized at this point, but it'd be, I love that group.
You know what band I really like is Avatar. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah. They have quite the show.
I don't know if that band's in your wheelhouse per se, but you did mention 12 Foot Ninja, and they're pretty. They come out of left field, pretty hardcore.
Yeah. I think Avatar totally is. I'm really surprised we haven't done anything yet. So I think when you have kind of similar sized bands, it's hard to book tours because nobody knows who should headline, and at this level you don't really do a lot of co-headline tours. I don't know why, maybe because of space, but Starset's another band. We've only played one show with them ever that wasn't a festival.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal. We had 4,000 people in Columbus, Ohio, which is awesome. So I don't know, we'll see.
Right on. Well, I was going to say now, the stories we tell ourselves, I mean, that record came out in September of 2017, but you're just getting around to releasing your fourth single just a couple days ago, as a matter of fact, Let 'Em Burn. And the video in particular makes a pretty strong statement.
Yeah, we were kind of afraid. We weren't afraid. We were curious because there's guns all over it, gun violence all in it.
Yeah.
And we're not making a statement for or pro guns or anti guns. We're just trying to get people to think. That's kind of the point of the video. But yeah. I don't know.
No. I mean, I'm just looking now. This was from Loudwire. I think it's an official statement from the band. Hundreds of people have been killed in mass shootings over the past several years. Almost everyone has chosen the red team or the blue team, and we're stuck in this mold where we fight over political problems instead of human solutions. More guns or less guns isn't the question. The real question is, why are we killing each other? That's a pretty bold step because, of course, gun control is a pretty hot button topic even up here in Canada.
Yeah, no, it is. And one of the mantras of the band is not, we don't, some people just go out and say what they think needs to happen. We would prefer to help people teach people how to think. Don't tell people what to do. That's kind of the mantra. And that's kind of how we feel. It's like guns don't kill people, people kill people. And obviously, we are, in a very real way, we do think gun regulation should be tighter. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not so black and white. It's not we don't feel like you should just take everything away, because that doesn't solve the problem the real problem, which is just violence in general. People's attitudes, parenting. I don't know. People deciding to become mature adults. And if you don't want to participate in society, maybe you should just expel yourself from society, because unfortunately, fortunately, you don't have to be anywhere. You can walk out in the middle of the woods and not have to deal with anybody. But if you're going to deal with people and live in a house and have kids and things like that, then there are responsibilities. So
Yeah. Well, now I think you guys are from. Geez, I should have done the research on this, but you guys are from Texas.
Texas, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a very Canadian thing to own a hunting rifle. I mean,
Right.
Personally, I never have. I came from a more urban environment, so. But I mean, I wouldn't bat an eyelash if I saw one at someone's house. I guess. My thing personally has been the access to the much heavier, stuff like the AR-15s and whatnot that seem to be a primary source of debate, in particular about mass shootings and such.
Yeah, and I think we all totally agree with that. Like, there's no reason for anybody to have that. Or, I don't know. We're kind of anti-regulation, because if you're really interested in something, then you should be able to have it, Like, I used to be kind of an environmentalist, and one of my best friends, who's a mechanical engineer, drives a truck that gets like 3 miles to the gallon, and to an environmentalist, it's like, wow, he's destroying the world, it's sinful almost, but I don't know, he's interested though, it's in his heart, like it's a passion, that's why I think, like, with regulation, if you're passionate about something, yeah, you should be able to go through some sort of process to maybe be around that, or just join the military. I don't know. I mean, I've definitely been to a shooting range before, and and I love shooting. I don't.
Have you had a chance to fire an AR-15?
Not an AR-15. I've fired some AK-47s. They're not fully auto though. It's basically just a large hunting rifle. And they're great guns. Like, I like it. It's accurate and super powerful. But yeah, I don't know. At shooting range, I do see people that are obviously waiting for World War III to break out. Like, you can just see it in their eyes. Yeah, because they're there with these huge guns and just blasting the shit out of targets, And my grandfather on my dad's side, he was kind of that way. Like, he just loved guns, kept a 45 under his pillow kind of thing. Woke up one morning to his German Shepherd chewing on it, loaded. So, I don't know.
Well, the flip side is people say, "Oh, it's really enjoyable to take a heavier rifle out and just fire it on the shooting range," and maybe that's cathartic to them. So I don't really know what the answer is. I have no idea. I think it is. I do think it's important to have the conversation, and that's definitely what you guys are doing with Let 'Em Burn. Totally.
Yeah, I think the answer is at the end of a long road of working together. It's not I guess, abstinence or full consumption, if you will. Like, there's an answer out there. We just gotta work together and quit hating each other.
For sure. So, after the UK tour, you guys are going back in the studio? Like, are you a band that, like, has to go into the studio in order to accomplish things, or are you actually, like, writing things as you roll along here?
Yeah, well, the studio is a very loose term at this point. Yeah, we'll be doing a UK tour supporting Papa Roach, and then we're breaking off from that and doing our final European tour of the stories we tell ourselves of this record cycle. And then, we'll be getting in the jam room and starting to write again. So we have all been documenting things on our own. Like, every song kind of needs a spark, and none of us really write a song from start to finish by ourselves. That's kind of one of the beauties of how we work, is that everyone kind of has their own strength and role in the songwriting. So, yeah, it took about a year, I think, after we released the stories we tell ourselves before we finished writing, for all of us to kind of be ready to write again. Because once you finish writing a record, it's like you finished a marathon. And I mean, you're out of ideas. It's like I've laid everything on the table and I'm exhausted, kind of thing. So what's kind of funny is we thought we were done with the record, and we kept it from 11/7 for as long as we could. They were just itching to hear the songs, but we have awesome management. 11/7's super cool, this too, so they actually let us do this, which is wild. But we didn't show them anything until the record was done, pretty much, and that means recorded and almost mixed, which is very scary to do, I'm sure, for them.
No kidding.
I'm sure they were a little bit pissed, but so we thought it was done. We were like, Go to War is going to be the first single. We submitted it to 11/7, and they were like, and they disagreed. They're like, y'all don't have your first single yet. Like, there's not a first single on here, so you have to write more. and we're just kicking ourselves. We're like, like it was the most excruciating thing in that moment to kind of turn that back on. It was like finishing a marathon and then realizing you were just at mile 25 and not 26 kind of thing. But we did that, and that first song was Do You Really Want It? And we're like, surely this is the first single. Like, we wrapped our head around what a first single is, right tempo, sounds like the band, don't go overly progressive with it. And they're like, nah, that's not the first single either. We need another one. So at that point, we're just pulling our hair out. And so we did Road Again, and the song that came out of that was Who We Are, which, we're really happy with. We're really happy with both those songs. But they were like, nah, that's not the first single either. But Go to War is the first single. And so at this point, we don't know if they were just messing with us or if they legitimately changed their minds. But at the end of the day, it was a good exercise, and we're happy that both those songs are on the record. So, we'll be writing soon.
I was going to say, I was talking to Bad Wolves now, and of course, they've had massive success with their zombie cover. And of course, Disturbed, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, right, came out with Sound of Silence. I mean, is doing a cover song of that nature based on an iconic song something that Nothing More would ever consider doing?
Yeah, we've toyed around with the idea, and we actually have one, and I don't. And what's weird is we recorded it like 4 years ago, but we haven't felt like it was the right time to ever release it. So we might go back and re-record that on this next record. Not because they did it, but because it's cool no matter what. Yeah, doing a cover song is always fun. It's hard to pick the right one, and the way we work, like, every time we've covered a song, we never just keep it in the same genre, if you will. Like, I always hate it when a band just picks up a song and doesn't change it. It's like the same thing, just with a different singer, So I think, like, Disturbed did a really good job at changing Sound to Silence. Like, that was an awesome version of an already awesome song.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're toying with the idea. We're actually toying with the idea too, maybe after this record, of doing just a cover record. Like, Rage Against the Machine did that. The Renegades of Funk record was all covers, and they were all kind of obscure. So I think it's a neat idea, especially if you're gonna take the time to really change things around like they did.
For sure.
Because I listened through that record, and I thought they wrote all the songs. It took someone telling me. So we'd probably do something kind of like that. It'd be fun.
Right on, man. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure the listeners of Do You Know Jack will appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the support.